All right, there's the mic. Having mic issues today. Always something. Hold on. Good morning and welcome everybody to the Crypto Mining Show, your one-stop shop for all cryptocurrency news from the perspective of a cryptocurrency miner. I go by Blind Run on the internet and Matthew in real life. And yes, today I am turning off my farm. We'll get into more details on that later. But before we get into that, we also have tons of other news topics to talk about, including but not limited to an opinion piece that's extremely interesting, talking about how crypto is going through an accelerated version of traditional finance. Then we'll be talking about Bitcoin records the largest monthly withdrawals ever in June. Is that a bullish or bearish sign? It depends on how you look at it, really. BIS calling for global collaboration with CBDC designs, and Russia has started their first transaction on their first CBDC. Of course, the commie nations have started first with CBDCs, just saying. And then Chinese retailers selling AMD and NVIDIA graphics cards line up for up to 38% under MSRP. And we have new benchmarks from the 13900K. Thanks everybody for stopping in today. Be sure to hit that like, comment, and subscribe. And let's get into it right after a word from today's sponsor. Today's sponsor is Crypto.com. Crypto.com is my go-to centralized exchange for liquidating my crypto assets. With their Crypto.com Visa debit card, I can load up my mined Ethereum to pay for power and other operating costs quickly while earning up to 8% cash back. In addition to the Visa debit card, there are additional fiat options, including wire transfers, to easily receive your profits. Crypto.com also offers additional services, including trading and even staking, to earn additional revenue on your investments. Join 10 million plus users buying and selling 100 plus cryptocurrencies at true cost by using my affiliate link in the description for a $25 funding bonus. Or enter referral code SOAT at sign up for the same bonus. Remember, cryptocurrency investment comes with significant risks, so do your own research. And welcome back to everybody. I'm being extremely careful with my mic due to the fact that the Go XLR is having some plug-in problems. We'll just go ahead and, yes, that's why it's hot. But a couple of notes. Yes, it is better for the algorithm if you do comment. And if you're not getting notifications, make sure you are signing up on sonofatech.locals.com. It's free to be a member over there, and you will get notifications when we go live and post videos on Locals. And as well as you can follow me on Twitter at sonofatech. We tweet there. And we also post within the Ethereum hash rate migration Discord, as well as in Rocket Chat and other related smaller socials, such as the Facebook page. If you're still using Facebook at this point, I guess you could use that. So first things first, I'm drinking some coffee out of the Bitsby Trippin' coffee mug. He's not an official sponsor of the channel, even though I'm trying to get him to pay me to drink out of his coffee cup. It just didn't work. I accept Ethereum and Bitcoin bits, Mr. Carter. All right. You guys can check that out on the BBT store, and be sure you go subscribe to the OG miner, Bitsby Trippin'. Let's get into the first topic of the day. The Intel i9 13900K 5.5 gigahertz Raptor Lake CPU benchmarked crushes the Ryzen 9 5950X Core i9 12900K in single and multi-threaded tests. Whoo, buddy, I can't wait. It's been benchmarked within Geekbench 5 and obliterates the 12900K and the 5950X. I'm running the 12900K right now and streaming to you guys from it, and I love this CPU, so I can't wait to see what's going to happen here. The Intel Core i9-13900K CPU is still an early sample that features 24 cores and 32 threads in an 8 P-core and 16 E-core configuration. Remember, you have performance cores and efficiency cores. The 8 P-cores will also have theoretically some sort of hyper-threading, multi-threading going on with it. So you'll have basically 8 physical cores and 16 logical processors, and then you'll add, 16, and then you'll have another 16 efficiency cores, something like that. Or is it 8 and I forgot how those numbers work out. Anyways, let's see. It'll tell us. From previous rumors, we can expect, because it'll be the 32 total, but 24 physical cores, right? So because of the 16 E cores. So that's right. I explained it correctly. From previous rumors, we can expect as much as 68 megabytes of the total game cache on this chip. The sample tested here has a base clock of 3 gigahertz and a boost clock of up to 5.5 gigahertz. It was mentioned that the ES3 samples would reach up to 5.5 gigahertz, while the final CPU samples will hit speeds of up to 5.8 gigahertz on the single core. Getting so close to that 6 gigahertz. The Geekbench data log shows that the chip was actually running at a single core speed of up to 5.7 gigahertz. You can see that right here on the post frequencies. The CPU was tested on the Asus ROG Maximus Z690 Extreme motherboard. Oh, baby. So is it Z690 compatible? I don't have to upgrade my motherboard because I spent a ton of money on this Gigabyte Aorus Master. So that would be amazing. I can just slot in a chip. Sweet. And that was with 32 gigabytes of DDR5 6400 memory. This is really fast configuration of DRAM that's been used in the tests, and Raptor Lake is officially going to support the native speeds of up to DDR5 5600. In terms of performance, the 13900K Raptor Lake CPU sample scored 2,133 points in single core and 23,701 points in multi-threaded tests. For comparison, in the same benchmark, the 12900K scores 19,87 single core and 17,272 points in multi-core, while the 5950X scores 1,686 points in single and 16,508 points in multi-core tests. Here's the benchmark results, as you can see here. And wow, just awesome stuff. This does mean, of course, we do have the new Ryzen chips coming out as well. So the competition is going to be really heated up. I really can't wait. This means that the new flagship is up to 48% faster than the Ryzen 9 5950X and 37% faster than the 12900K in multi-threaded tests, which is a huge leap. The addition of 8 extra E cores are definitely helping the chip surpass the performance of its predecessor by a big margin. Coming to the single core performance, since Raptor Cove and Grace Mount cores aren't a big architectural uplift or lift, I almost said agricultural. Most of the performance improvement comes from the clock speeds in single-threaded tasks. The i9-13900K still maintains a decent 7% gain over the 12900K and a 27% gain over the 5950X in single-threaded tasks. Once again, these aren't final clock speeds, so the final performance is expected to be even higher than this leak. At 5.8 gigahertz, we can expect a single core improvement of 10% and a multi-core improvement of 40% over the 12900K. That should mean a 50% multi-threaded CPU performance increase over the 5950X. AMD, on the other hand, has said that the Zen 4 increased multi-threaded performance by 35% over Zen 3. So it will be an interesting battle for sure, but it definitely to me sounds like Intel may be taking the lead here or maintaining the lead at these top-end chips. The Intel 13th Gen Raptor Lake desktop CPUs, including the flagship Core i9-13900K, is expected to launch in October on the Z790 platform. The CPUs will be going against AMD's Ryzen 7000 CPU lineup, which also launches in the fall. This fall is going to be an amazing time for PC components in general, because we are getting a ton of new components, and kind of with the downfall of cryptocurrency mining, for lack of a better term, it does mean better pricing. So I'm excited because that does mean it'll be easier to get your hands on things like the AMD CPUs that were a little hard to get a hold of for a while. And of course the GPUs, because we're getting new GPUs with Ada Lovelace, as well as the RX 7000 series from AMD and Radeon. Lots of fun stuff. I'm thinking it might even be one of those kind of builds where you end up with Intel on the CPU side and Radeon on the GPU side for really, really high frame rate performance. And that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. I don't know. Other than that, as far as for mining, you know, Darrow, some stuff like that, where you can use Intel CPUs, is going to benefit from the, more performance cores, bigger chips, the 13900K, but cache heavy stuff, it doesn't look like you're getting a huge cache improvement, at least comparatively, right? So I think if we're talking about cache on this one, it's not necessarily L2 cache, it's total cache. You are getting a bump. I guess it's about double over the 12900K. So things like Monero, Raptorium, etc. will get, a boost to a certain extent, but not anywhere close to what you're going to get on the AMD side. So you're probably still sticking with AMD for CPU mining in the next generation. Chinese retailers selling AMD and NVIDIA entire graphics card lineup significantly below MSRP, and prices dropped to 38%. This is a report from WCCF Tech as well. AMD and NVIDIA graphics card prices have dropped hard. And it's not just the used graphics cards that are flooding over from the crypto crash, but also new graphics cards at various online shops that are currently available far below MSRP. As they should be, because on the launch of these, remember, they were launching at a time when crypto mining had caused a huge demand, along with the shortages caused by the lockdowns. What you ended up was just a huge demand for all of these GPUs in low supply. And that compounded into the result, there we go, of essentially all of the MSRPs getting artificially inflated. Well, not artificially inflated. I'm thinking about Ethereum. Sorry. Getting inflated from the supply and demand issues due to those factors. And so seeing them come under MSRP is not surprising. In fact, it would be worrisome if we didn't see adjusted MSRP prices. And that hopefully continues on to the next generation of GPUs as well. According to reports coming from China, the latest inventory of graphics cards from NVIDIA and AMD has just arrived in stores, and the prices are way below their MSRPs, as they should be by now. Graphics card prices have been on a decline mainly due to two reasons. First being the GPU market course correction, which saw 2 years of inflated prices due to supply and logistics issues, and the other being the crypto crash, which has resulted in several used graphics cards to flood the market at super cheap prices. This has resulted in retailers around the globe correcting the prices on graphics cards from NVIDIA and AMD, but most buyers and even shopkeepers are using eBay as a reference for where the prices are heading. The graphics cards being sold on eBay are used and not brand new. There's also no way of telling whether the card was used for mining operations or not. This is where this Chinese price listing comes in, which shows brand new graphics cards prices at up to 33% below MSRP. The 3090 Ti is 38% below MSRP. The 3090 is 29% below MSRP. The 3080 Ti is 33% below MSRP. 3080 12 gigabyte says no change because they don't know right now. The 3080 is 16% below MSRP. The 3070 Ti is 15% below. The 3070 is 13% below. The 3060 Ti is really maintaining its price pretty well at only 4% below. The 3060 is 12% below. The 3050 is 10% below. And on the Radeon side, your biggest decrease is on the 6900 XT at 37.5% below MSRP. The 6800 XT at 15% below MSRP. and the 6800 below 13% below MSRP, and the 6750 19%, and that is also correlated to the 6650 XT, which we could say is a result of their poor performance on mining and way below expectations at this point. I would recommend keeping this chart up and basically paying attention to it, because these prices should translate into US dollar prices, US marketplace prices eventually. So if you're going out and purchasing GPUs on the US market or even other markets, Canada, Europe, whatever it may be, make sure you're aware that the price adjustment is going to happen first here, kind of in this Chinese market, and then kind of move itself over to the Western countries. And so you don't want to be overpaying right now for something that is potentially going to hit these prices. So keep this pinned when you're doing used searches, especially. You shouldn't be paying anything over this as far as for used prices, and new prices too, theoretically. Not financial advice, of course. The list includes previous and new graphics cards prices from today, the 11th of July, and also compares them to MSRP. So coming to the juicy bits, all new graphics cards from NVIDIA and AMD are now being sold way below MSRP. The only cards that are in single-digit range below MSRP are the 6950 XT at 6.4% and the 3060 Ti, which is extremely popular right now, at 4.1%. One is a fairly new graphics card positioned at the top end, and the other is one of the most popular GPUs in the mainstream segment. Despite that, these graphics cards can now be bought for prices that are lower than MSRPs in new condition. The graphics card with the most aggressive price cuts are also the fastest by each respective company. The 3090 Ti being sold at 38% below MSRP, and the 6900 XT is being sold for 37.5% below MSRP. The 3080 Ti and 3090 have also seen a fairly big price drop of 29% and 33% respectively. One thing that I should be pointing out is that the official MSRP for these graphics cards is slightly higher in China due to added VAT. So now these graphics cards are not only below their MSRPs, but also below the international MSRP minus the VAT. Based on where the pricing is going, in a few months, we might be able to get an RTX 3090 at or under $1,000 US, and the same with the AMD GPU lineup. And you would hope so before the launch of the new GPUs, by the way, too. Both AMD and NVIDIA are cleaning up their GPU inventory to make room for next-gen graphics cards, which are expected to launch this fall. So expect more aggressive price cuts and deals in the coming months. Now, obviously, this entire show is titled that I'm turning off my mining farm. We're going to be getting into that here in a second. And that is kind of relevant to the pricing of GPUs as well, because obviously the margins are getting closer and closer. Is that what we're talking about today? Not necessarily, but it's important to note that a lot of GPU miners are turning off, and it is affecting, of course, the pricing of GPUs. What is this time for? This time would be, in theory, for accumulation of hardware for the next bull run. So I can't promise when a bull run will happen. This isn't financial advice. If I'm looking at the timeline and taking into account historic Bitcoin prices and cryptocurrency market shifts, then I would be expecting 2024 of April, and some after the halving of Bitcoin, which we've covered plenty of other times on this channel. And I would expect it to start pumping back up into 2025 and then kind of take a nice run there where, I'll just say it right now, I would expect Bitcoin to go up to about $200,000. And then I would expect it a couple years after that, or maybe a little bit less, depending on the timing of the cycle, to come back down to around $60,000. That is my Bitcoin price prediction and what I'm planning on personally. So, that's me. That's how I see it playing out. Do I see any bump earlier in the cryptocurrency market before 2025? No. Do I see one in 2023? No. I think we'll see a lot of these dead cat bounces. We talked about this when we had the pump last week, but it doesn't look good when we're talking about regulation and stuff. A lot of what is going on is countries are trying to create their own digital currencies and digital asset transaction systems, and Russia is next on the list. So Russia's Sberbank, something like that, completes first digital asset transaction. A few months after Russia's top lender, Sberbank, I keep wanting to say sperm bank. They're just going to go with that. Received the trade digital financial assets license. The firm's subsidiary, Sber Factoring, completing its first DFA transaction worth around 1 billion rubles. And that is 16 million US dollars. This action comes following the bank's board deputy chairman, Natalie Popov's statement that the first transaction will come within a month. He made this known sometime last month in an interview with TASS, a state-backed media. With the license, Sberbank assured users of its use of blockchain technology and smart contracts to trade digital assets. Meanwhile, Atomize became the first Russian company licensed to trade digital assets besides Atomize and trades metal-backed tokens as digital finance assets. Russia's second largest bank, VTB, after announcing plans to trade digital assets, also completed the first digital ruble DFA trade sometime in June. Meanwhile, Russia's observation of cryptocurrency transactions remains ongoing as the authorities plan to introduce regulations soon. Regulate everything that is not controlled by the state and replace it with an inferior version controlled by the state so that you can therefore control the public. That is what is going on here. Make sure you get enough fear and uncertainty and doubt into the rest of the crypto market to let the government take control. That is what's going on these days, guys. There have been mixed signals from the country about the legal status of cryptocurrencies. A Russian lawmaker, and Natalie Aksakov, there we go, recently said the country's largest stock exchange, the Moscow Exchange, has the potential of hosting a regulated crypto exchange. In his words, that division, which will work as part of the respected organization with great traditions and highly engaged in actively interacting with the central bank, will do an excellent job with the task of handling cryptocurrency operations. I'm going to go ahead and call BS on that and say, no, it will not. That's how I feel. This is the polar opposite of what the Russian central bank has been saying about crypto. The bank's governor, Elvira Nabulina, oh man, they're killing me with these Russian names. I better go study some Russian. Said cryptocurrency should not be traded on organized marketplaces because these assets are too volatile, too risky for potential investors. I had this argument with someone the other day on Twitter too, because they were saying, Bitcoin's too volatile. And I was like, and they were like, the dollar's stable. And I was like, if the dollar's stable, why are we paying 40% more for everything? Right? Like, why are we paying 40% more for housing and gases and cars, energy? Why are we that means that inherently even the dollar isn't that stable right now. I'm just saying, just think about that. Just because the dollar is a dollar and you still get the same amount of money for how much you work doesn't mean that the dollar's worth the same. Okay? You're worth less now. Your work is just worth less now. Meanwhile, the United States is pushing to further isolate Russia's economy by urging Japan to shut crypto exchanges with links to the country. Russia has faced increased sanctions from the rest of the world because of its invasion of Ukraine. However, despite the unclear status of crypto, Russians are actively trading cryptocurrencies through foreign exchanges. And this is not just happening in Russia because of the sanctions either. This is happening everywhere. We talked about Argentina and the huge increase in trading for stable coins on cryptocurrency markets to kind of bypass the regulations that are going on in Argentina. And that is because, of course, the Argentine dollar is taking a huge dive and is severely, unreliable for them. So they are moving into stable coins, which is an interesting move because obviously the stable coins are based off of typically the US dollar. And so they want to move into the US dollar, but they can't. So they have to use blockchain technology to do it. And it's pretty incredible. Eventually, what the question would be is how far down does the US dollar have to come down in price before people start doing this and moving not into stable coins, but into things like Bitcoin? But it doesn't end there. BIS calls for global collaboration with CBDC designs. They want a global CBDC, is really what the end game is. The Swiss-based Bank for International Settlements on Monday released a report produced in collaboration with the IMF and World Bank. The Bank for International Settlements, BIS, has asked for countries to cooperate at the early stages of central bank digital currency design to make it easier for systems to work across borders. Each jurisdiction will have its own legal framework, but many design features for CBDCs, which are digital versions of existing sovereign currencies like the US dollar, are still undecided, allowing central banks to start with a clean slate, according to a just released BIS joint report with the International Monetary Fund and World Bank. The conclusions are in line with those of Cecilia Skingsley, who is first deputy governor of Sweden's central bank and set to become head of the innovation arm at BIS, which is based in Basel, Switzerland. 2 weeks ago, she warned of the potential for countries to not play nicely with one another with respect to CBDC design. Quote, to promote coexistence with other forms of money and payment instruments and reasonable levels of adoption of CBDC, interoperability with non-CBDC systems, both domestically and cross-border, is fundamental, Paz report says. That countries around the globe are looking into establishing a CBDC, at least in part in response to the crypto market boom, is no secret. The Bahamas was the first to launch a digital currency named the Sand Dollar in 2020, and China has pushed forward with its trial of the digital yuan, and Nigeria launched its own CBDC, the Naira, in October of last year. When constructing a CBDC, central banks would have to decide on some key issues like who gets to use the CBDCs and whether private payment companies will be able to access their CBDC infrastructure. According to the BIS report, central banks could either agree to a set of common standards or use different interlinking systems that still allow people to transact with one another, or just have a single access point between systems. Each of the CBDC access models has different implications around risks, efficiency, resilience, and interoperability. The report continues, noting there is no one-size-fits-all solution. For example, while compatibility might be the least costly form of interoperability, it may not achieve efficiency benefits similar to interlinking multiple systems or developing a single system, the report says. Overall, interlinking CBDC systems through a hub and spoke, where a common hub connects two or more separate CBDC systems, or a single system model that uses similar infrastructure and a common rulebook, might bring more improvement to the cross-border payments market than other options, according to the report. The BIS sets out 5 criteria for central banks to consider when moving along with their CBDC options. Central banks must do no harm, enhance efficiency, increase resilience, assure coexistence and interoperability with other systems, and bolster financial inclusion, the report says. I have a feeling it has nothing to do with that, because if we take a look at what's going on in China right now, they are storming the banks trying to get their money out. So if you have a CBDC version of it, it makes that even more difficult, right? Because now you can't get your yuan, because your yuan is just a digital asset that is locked down by the nation state. And it's extremely interesting times. Once again, I will state it as I always state it. I am pro cryptocurrency, anti CBDC. And that is where I stand. I don't think I'll shift on that at any given time. If you have an argument for central bank digital currencies, please let me know in the live stream, or of course in the comment section post. So Bitcoin does record its largest monthly withdrawals ever in June. Why would this be? I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. We are seeing collapses of centralized cryptocurrency systems. What we are kind of seeing, interestingly enough, is somehow cryptocurrency is doing what you would expect it to do based on the Bitcoin white paper, regardless of how financial institutions are trying to participate within it, because the traditional financial institutions are not able to read it properly And when they try to centralize it, it just turns into a cluster and they end up shutting down. So people obviously are moving their cryptocurrency off of exchanges because, well, it's not safe on exchanges. Case in point would be like Celsius, where your withdrawals get shut down and you can't access it. Or even more recently, Coinbase turning off the ability to extract to your bank account. June 2022 experienced the biggest monthly outflow of Bitcoin from centralized wallets in history. Last month, there was an outflux of 151,000 Bitcoin from centralized exchanges. According to Glassnode, the outflow is computed via exchange net position change. This indicator calculates a netted amount of Bitcoin that flows in and out of centralized wallets. In other words, it is determined by subtracting all outflows from inflows. A negative exchange net position change represents higher outflows and a positive value indicates higher inflows. Thus, Glassnode's report indicated the largest negative value seen in Bitcoin history. Why is this important? The cryptocurrency market has been in an extremely bearish downtrend over the past few months. Last month saw a large crash in the cryptocurrency sector, causing over $2 trillion in capital to be wiped out of the sector. The large-scale outflows from centralized exchanges could be indicative of falling investor confidence in exchanges. Given major liquidity crises experienced by the crypto firms causing withdrawals to be frozen, investors may be transitioning to cold wallets away from centralized wallets. They may be. No, they most definitely are. In fact, that is the number one topic surrounding cryptocurrency right now is cold wallets, even to the point to where you have started to see some of the smaller cryptocurrencies try to work on offline generators for their currency, Ravencoin being one of them most recently, by the way. Despite the market continuing to be bearish, investors may be more confident in their Bitcoin investment, looking to hodl in cold wallets. As bearish and turbulent market conditions continue, investors may be adopting a longer time frame mindset on their Bitcoin investment. Oh, it's a longer time frame, and anybody that has been participating in multiple cycles is completely aware that we have a couple of years to ride out here in the current environment, right? That's just the way it's going to be. If you are blindly looking up and trading stocks the way that's done. Okay, that is done. They were going to talk about something else on that. So that pretty much ends it. It's obvious, like I said, that people don't trust centralized exchanges. This is par for the course, to be completely frank. We've seen this happen every other cycle, inflows. Now, we're seeing the largest one. Why? We're seeing the largest one because we have the largest amount of investors now, right? It means that Bitcoin adoption is way up. It means cryptocurrency adoption is way up. And because of that, when you see moves that are happening now, you'll see the largest moves happening. You'll see the most capital getting wiped out in a bear market. You'll see the most amount of people pulling Bitcoin and cryptocurrency off of centralized exchanges. This is, like I said, par for the course. It's nothing really outside of anything that I would expect to be normal at this point. Now, crypto is trying out traditional finance's failures in hyperspeed, but it's going to be fine. This is an opinion piece from CoinDesk. I find this one extremely interesting because we talk about the book, The Sovereign Individual. We talk about the digital transformation. And one of the key points to that I always found interesting was that the digital transformation, especially as it pertains to finance, will be highly accelerated compared to previous transformations like your industrial ages and your agricultural ages. And that's because we have basically this entire new digital world that accelerates the response of markets and everything tenfold. Like, it just makes it go extremely fast. It's hyperspeed, right? Because we have all of these computers connected to each other and we're able to communicate much more effectively. It means that when we go through these processes, it just is accelerated. So I wanted to read this opinion piece and see what's going on. It says, what is going on? What is going to be the most interesting here is seeing what happens to Bitcoin and other cryptos during these hard times. The last time I wrote about a stable coin, it failed spectacularly. So when a colleague of mine suggested I write about MakerDAO's proposal to invest in US treasuries to back its collateralized stablecoin DAI, I was reminded of the power I wield. I'm completely joking, by the way. I don't take myself that seriously, but while we are on the topic of spectacular failure, we should talk about spectacular failure. Just 2 weeks ago, this newsletter suggested that opaque, intertwined platforms with excessive leverage were a danger to crypto investors. That was in the shadows of the hedge fund Three Arrows Capital's insolvency, but now Celsius and Voyager, two retail-focused yield-generating platforms, have put together restructuring plans. Which is, what do you do when you're screwed? Voyager even declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy, the good kind of bankruptcy for the record if there's such a thing, proving that crypto is hell-bent on playing out the mistakes of traditional finance at hyperspeed. What's more, blockchain.com also stands to lose $270 million from lending to Three Arrows. Oh, and there's a handful of not so great crypto things happening right now, which we'll get into, but it's all going to somehow be fine. That and maybe more below. The economy is not looking good. The yield curve inverted this week. See the chart below. The yield curve inverting is often treated as a warning indicator for a recession. So that isn't great on the surface. And, you know, we've been yelling, hey, recession coming, inflation coming, and everybody's been telling us, gaslighting us, telling us no, it's not. And clearly it is. It's basically here at this point. Okay, but what does that mean? In plain English, the U.S. federal government sells bonds or treasuries to investors like you to fund all the stuff they do. Those treasuries in turn pay you an interest rate or yield over a period of time. At the end of the period of time, the original amount is returned to the investor. If treasuries sound like loans, that's because they are. The amount of investors would expect to make on these treasuries is higher the longer the loan is. That makes sense. Your money is locked up longer, so in exchange for that risk, you get more yield. So then if you plotted the length of the loan on the x-axis against yield, you'd get a logarithmic looking growth curve. And there you go. Except when the yield curve inverts, which is what happened. Now 10-year treasury yields are lower than 2-year treasury yields. Theoretically, this means investors expect longer-term rates to decline. Practically, this means banks, which depend on lending at rates in excess of risk-free rate, typically in the 10-year treasury yield, to make money, will lend less. And this will lead to a slowdown in the economic activity. Such is life in a debt-based monetary system. Also, a 75 basis point increase to the interest rates in July is basically a foregone conclusion at this point. According to the Federal Open Market Committee, almost all FOMC members were in favor of a 75 BPS hike. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell told us that a 75 BPS hike was an unusually large one. No, really? 2 months in a row would seem quite unusual, but that's just me. All eyes on July 27th. The miners are struggling, and we're going to talk more about miners struggling here in just a second. We touched on how mining companies might soon capitulate by selling some of their balance sheet Bitcoins to fund operations as they struggle. Given 2022 price performance mentioned in last week's newsletter, and just like that, one of the largest miners, Core Scientific, announced that it sold over 7,000 Bitcoin in June. Core's hasn't performed well in 2022, so it's unsurprising that they had to dip into their treasury a bit. All said, while miner capitulation is viewed as the beginning of a death spiral to zero, since miners are supposed to be the last line of defense, that isn't happening in reality. Core Scientific CEO Mike Levitt assured investors the company is focused on executing its plans, and the sale was just an exercise in maintaining a healthy balance sheet. To its credit, Core's didn't have to disclose that it sold anything given its earnings call isn't until August. If anything, we should applaud the transparency. Lastly, leverage continues to hurt everyone. The Luna collapse led to Three Arrows Capital insolvency, and now we are facing a crypto lender crisis. BlockFi received a structured bailout from FTX with what seems to be $250 million in earnout. Celsius halted operations and then announced some restructuring plans. And Voyager did the same but different by declaring bankruptcy. On top of that, it came out on Friday that blockchain.com might lose $270 million from lending to Three Arrows Capital. It's tough sledding out there. The news is still unfolding that all these lenders. In general, that this is all not good, but it does feel like the worst is behind us. FTX and its ever altruistic CEO Sam Fried is emerging as crypto's savior, as his or his firm's name has popped up in all discussions around companies who are failing in the embers of the Three Arrows insolvency. But it is a huge consolidation, right, of basically cryptocurrency assets, including mining. And that can be a concern here, at least in my humble opinion. All right. So in general, these things, an inverted yield curve, higher interest rates, minor capitulation, and multiple crypto lender bankruptcies are not good. What is going to be most interesting here is seeing what happens to Bitcoin and crypto during these hard times. Not only is life tough in the crypto world, but macro makers or markers are signaling a recession. And although it was birthed out of a recession, Bitcoin has never lived through one. It will at the very least get interesting. And really, like, at the end of the day, this is the most exciting time to see how Bitcoin responds, because it was born out of the recession. It was born to basically protect the everyday man from recession to a certain extent. And I'm kind of curious how it's responding. What's interesting that I would like to still point out is a lot of people say it's following traditional markets. Okay. But I would like to point out that I'm not necessarily sure that that is true. Once again, not financial advice, but if we look at that just from a zoomed out perspective, right? I expected Bitcoin to hit around 60K. I expected it to come back down to about 21K around this time. Its timing to be lined up with the recession could be complete coincidence. And if it maintains here through the recession, then it may be a pointer to it actually functioning as designed. And I think you have to get rid of the traditional finance mindset that we're talking about here. And we have to get rid of course, centralization. And this just, serves as a way to do that. Thankfully, things are happening quicker than I'm used to. I used to work in finance and traditional finance. The interesting thing is seeing what Bitcoin will do in the times of hard macro times, which is the root of all of this. Amid all of this, here's Bitcoin last week. And so he just shows basically the 21,232. So I guess it's going to be fine. Question mark, I don't know. Really, what I was hoping that they would get into with this article more is the relationship between traditional finance failures and the Bitcoin failures. Those failures, though, that just to be clear on what they're paying attention to, are all driven by centralized entities, right? And those centralized entities are making these failures that traditional finance did, and they're getting weeded out quite a bit more quickly. Now, as the title says, I am powering off my mining farm today. I am going up there after the show. I actually have a meeting, but before 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, I will be turning off my farm and then reevaluating what I will be turning back on tonight at 8 p.m. And that is due to live power grid conditions. It's the ERCOT asked Texans to conserve electricity on Monday. It's extremely hot in Texas. I think we had 107 on Saturday. We had about 105 yesterday. And the farm is really hot. It's causing some of my cars to just be done. As far as they're dropping off of the rigs. And I'm going to have to reevaluate, obviously what we're doing for cooling. We've been talking about this problem for a while. I have some that are working good. I'll probably be reevaluating and not turning on all my equipment to try to bring temperature levels down. This is kind of a good excuse to go ahead and shut everything down and turn one back on at a time this evening. It does mean I'll be up late more than likely. But the operator of Texas Electric Grid issued an appeal for energy conservation on Monday from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. The Electric Reliability Council of Texas, ERCOT, which operates the state's electric grid, is asking residents and businesses to voluntarily conserve power Monday afternoon and into the evening due to extreme heat. ERCOT issued an appeal on Sunday night for energy conservation on Monday, July 11th from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Time. ERCOT has also issued a watch for projected reserve capacity shortage during that time frame. ERCOT said it does not anticipate system-wide outages. ERCOT budgets in a reserve amount of electricity that it can rely on in case demand exceeds supply. The 6-hour window on Monday with not enough reserve could create an energy emergency alert, ERCOT said, which is a series of emergency procedures the grid operator enacts when operating reserves drop below specified levels. Those procedures are designed to protect the reliability of the electric system as a whole and prevent an uncontrolled system-wide outage, ERCOT said. This appeal comes during a time that ERCOT is dealing with a high demand of energy from across the state. On Saturday, the peak demand landed at about 77,532 megawatts. As stated, that was due to, of course, that 107-degree temperature that I just talked about. On Friday, which was the hottest day of the year so far, there was an all-time demand record of 78,418 megawatts. ERCOT said the record demands this summer are due to high triple-digit temperatures across the state. And then you can use their free app, and it allows you to monitor real-time grid conditions. That's really where we're at, guys. Like, unfortunately, because of this, why would I shut down? Like, I could technically stay up and risk it. If there did end up being rolling blackouts during this time, just to be clear, it could damage equipment at the farm. So I'm also doing this to protect my equipment to a certain extent. One, it's really hot, so I'm not getting my full hash rate as it is, right? Two, the margins are so low, I can save some electricity for the month, which is definitely welcome, right? And then three, I don't want to damage any equipment. So we're going to be going out to the farm today, like I said, after a meeting after the show and shutting that down. Now, one thing I was trying to do is I was dual mining some ZIL because I need to get some ZIL in my wallet for the Solus Citadel giveaway that we were supposed to do on Saturday. Apologies, I didn't have any ZIL in my wallet. And then when I wanted to extract or sell it or swap it, there was a minimum ZIL extraction of like 300 and I didn't swap for enough. Anyways, I'm mining a couple ZIL here that should be available hopefully shortly. And then we'll be doing that giveaway. Look for the announcement for the timing of it to finish that giveaway up on sonofatech.locals.com. Let's get into mining profitability though for the day after we get into, of course, the final ad. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Love seeing everybody here. Be sure to hit that like button. And let's get into it. Today's sponsor is Crypto.com. Crypto.com is my go-to centralized exchange for liquidating my crypto assets. With their Crypto.com Visa debit card, I can load up my mined Ethereum to pay for power and other operating costs quickly while earning up to 8% cash back. In addition to the Visa debit card, there are additional fiat options, including wire transfers, to easily receive your profits. Crypto.com also offers additional services, including trading and even staking to earn additional revenue on your investments. Join 10 million plus users buying and selling 100 plus cryptocurrencies at true cost by using my affiliate link in the description for a $25 funding bonus. Or enter referral code SOAT at sign up for the same bonus. Remember, cryptocurrency investment comes with significant risks, so do your own research. And welcome back, everybody. So, first things first, let's go ahead and talk about mining profitability on ZIL. We're waiting for this basically to hit 30 before we do the giveaway and get a payout. So I'm hoping we'll hit that here shortly. If not, I'll leave at least one rig on, but we did change this over yesterday. We're doing about 1.5 gigahash a second on ETH and ZIL, and then we still got another about 2 gigahash a second on Crazy Pool. So it's a little weird right now. We're doing, we did $39 in the past 24 hours on EASL. It does say that our total, though, average will only be $27, but we did hit a couple good blocks on ETH, it looks like. And then our ZIL payouts at 24, which is only like 93 cents, but we'll be getting that extracted out. So total, it's saying that we'll do $27.92 a day. In reality, we did about $40 in the past 24 hours on the ZIL mining pool. And then as far as on the crazy pool, I think we did another $20 over here. So total about $60 on Ethereum with about 3.5 gigahash a second. And then the Ergo Smart Pool, we are up over here. We've done 4,720 netta. I do need to pull that up on the Ergo Dex for you guys. Let me get that going here. We'll do app.ergodex. And we had 3 rigs on here, but let's go ahead and get this swapped over to netta. 4,700. So we did another $23 on netta. So total about $83 for the past 24 hours on the mining farm. That doesn't include, of course, the ASICs, just GPU mining. Not too disappointing as far as profitability. We've had much worse days, of course, on the farm, but thanks to the decrease in difficulty on Ethereum, we're not doing too bad, especially considering how hot it's been and how many rigs I've turned off. So let's look at what to mine though on the 3090 with adjusted hash rates on ZEL hash at a 110, Kapow to 60, ProgPow to 60, and Firo proof of work to 60, and calculate that out. It looks like Neoxa is still in the first place, actually recovering back to first place. We have a how to mine Neoxa on the channel. If you need to check it out, you can let me know once we get the questions and answers, and I'll link that video over to you. But it's $216 a day in revenue and $1.37 a day after power. Ethereum's at $206 a day in revenue and $1.29 a day after power. Ravencoin $201 a day in revenue and $1.22 a day after 10 cents a kilowatt hour power. Cero at $1.94 a day in revenue and $1.15 a day after power. Z Classic $1.73 in revenue and $1.04 a day after power. Conflux $1.72 a day in revenue and 93 cents a day after power. Firo $1.71 a day in revenue and 97 cents a day after power. Xano $1.57 a day in revenue and 78 cents a day after power. Cortex $1.44 a day in revenue and 80 cents a day after power. And Flux $1.44 a day in revenue and 75 cents a day after power. However, it's still more profitable for Flux to be mined through NiceHash, where it gets $1.60 a day in revenue and 90 cents a day after power. Ergo at $1.42 a day in revenue and 79 cents a day after power. And Ethereum Classic $1.38 a day in revenue and 62 cents a day after power. So that's your what to mine settings. Neoxa, like I said, kind of taking the lead again, but be extremely careful, because when it did last time, a whole bunch of people popped on and difficulty shot up and nobody really made near what they were expecting. So that's kind of the problem with these small cap coins when they hit the top of what to mine and get listed, is that a whole bunch of people pop on and then its profitability shoots down. And if you keep chasing that dragon, right, that dragon that everybody else is chasing with cryptocurrency, you put yourself in a bad position, because now also you've lost your previous pool commitment, right? Your longevity on other pools for the payout systems. So you get paid less when you go back to those pools. So just be careful with that one. So other than that, let's go ahead and look at miningpoolstats.stream and take a look at hash rate and see what's going on. Taking a look at Bitcoin, it's at 213 exahash a second with another dip in difficulty. So looking a little bit better on the Bitcoin side. Let's take a look at Ethereum here. Ethereum's at 930 terahash a second. It is down from last week. So we are seeing a dip in, of course, hash rate on Ethereum continue. Let's take a look at Ethereum Classic. It's at 24 terahash a second. No real changes. Let's go ahead and look at Flux. Flux is a little up from 1.13 mega solutions a second on Friday to 1.2 mega solutions a second today. And then we have Ergo. Ergo is at 12 terahash a second. And Ravencoin, let's take a look at Ravencoin, which is at 2.38 terahash a second. And Neoxa, let's see if people are starting to move their rigs back over there since we saw that. So you can see here, I think this was last week when it kind of first hit what to mine. It jumped up to 111 gigahash a second. and then it's come back down, right, to about 85 gigahash a second, which is actually not that bad for it to still be, high on the charts for what to mine. The concern, of course, would be that the difficulty starts to go back up here. You can see the quick rise in difficulty on July 8th, and then it came back down here. So if that goes back, we'll have to be concerned about that. It did have a nice price pump, though, of 24%. So Neox is really, performing pretty well, all things considered, especially during a bear market. So it's one to keep an eye on. That, game to earn cryptocurrency model in games that people actually want to play is not a terrible idea. My question will be is when does the actual currency have, some sort of value to use it for? Meaning you can earn it right now. It doesn't seem like you can actually use it to purchase anything. So once in-game purchases and stuff start happening, that could be interesting. I'm sure there's some sort of marketplace there. I'm not a huge fan of Rust. We do play games on twitch.tv/blindrun. Been doing it every night at 10:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if you guys want to go sub over there, definitely do that. This week, I think I'll be moving it earlier. And then we're going to be trying out some new things for the summer schedule. I think for the next 2 weeks, we'll probably be trying to do a stream between 5 and 9 p.m. Central. So if you're interested in video games, you can come over there. We've been playing Escape from Tarkov, The Cycle Frontier, and stuff like that. You're welcome to join in and hang out. And I'll put links in the live chat and down in the description if you're interested. But that's just gaming. I know not everybody's interested in that. And I do have a lot of work to get done too. So bear with me while I figure out specific schedules and all of that. So the only other thing, we have two more, right? So we cover mining pool profits. Let's get into that. On Ethereum, the past 90 days, crazy pool in first, Ether mine in second, F2 pool in third. Last 60 days, ZET in first, crazy pool in second, Ether mine in third. Last 30 days, ZET in first, crazy pool in second, Ether mine in third. Last 21 days, mining pool hub in first, crazy pool in second, ZET in third. Last 14 days. What's going on? Got some weird echo. Okay, hold on. Let me see what's going on. Why did we end up getting a weird echo? It shows something playing on the desktop.
Yep.
What is that? Oh, the Texas ERCOT live stream apparently went live, so I apologize for that, guys. Okay. I don't know how long that was going on, but thanks for calling it out. Yeah, it was this Texas ERCOT video started playing because it's live. So, apologies for that. It happens. Usually I have desktop muted, and I don't know why. I didn't today. Well, I didn't today because we've been doing reactions as well on Twitch. So over on Twitch, if you guys want to have me react to something while I'm live streaming, you can come over there. We also put the reactions on the Blind Run channel, which you can find a link to from the main page on YouTube if you're interested in that. But last 7 days, ZET in first, F2 pool in second, mining pool hub in third. Last 3 days, ZET in first, mining pool hub in second, F2 pool in third. For the last day, ZET in first, Crux pool in second, Nano pool in third. And then finally, we will have, of course, ASIC miner profitability. Let's take a look at its hardware pricing here. And boom. All right, so we have the Antminer L7 at 1936 a day, still staying kind of in first place, unless you count the E9, which is technically out and purchasable. So you can purchase those, but you do have to keep in mind that's going to be only Ethereum and Ethereum Classic, so be extremely careful there. We have the Gold Shell KD6 at $14.80 a day. Still taking a dive kind of as far as that goes, and the KD5 is down as well. It's below $10 a day at $9.05 a day. If we look at the S19 Pro, it's back down to about $3.75 a day. Of course, make sure you get that as efficient as possible with the new upgraded firmwares and so on. Now I'm in the process. BT Miners currently not under contract, so I want to make that clear. We do not have them as a sponsor currently, but I do like utilizing their website for kind of seeing what ASIC miner prices are doing. We are already aware that we've seen up to 40% drops under MSRP for GPUs, so kind of paying attention to what's going on over on this side of things. This side of things, we have, some sales going on. You can get the E9 for $11,900. It looks like you can get the S19 Pro for $4,300. I think that's down from $4,650 if I recall correctly. So that may be one to take a look at. You do have the iPolos at $2,300 for the 300 mega hash ETH miner. This will still mine Ethereum. And you have the mini classic ETC one at $995. And that is pretty much going to wrap it up. The KD Lite is dropping in price as well. So is the KD6 down to $10,099, which is a huge drop from that $60,000 that it used to be. Let's get into questions and answers. Remember, super chats are always appreciated, never required, first to be read because they are highlighted, easiest to read. Next, tagging at Son of a Tech will highlight the beginning of the message orange, making it easier for me to pick out of chat. So if you do not tag at Son of a Tech, I probably will not reply to the question. So to be clear on that. Now, if you want to support the algo of the channel, you can do super chat stickers. I've been advised that that is the best for the algorithm, and I appreciate it for helping the algorithm up on the channel. And then if you want to provide the most financial support to the channel, it's not required, but it's definitely helpful. You can check out the pinned comment for the locals page at sonofatech.locals.com, where I do exclusive giveaways and other exclusive posts, including spec mineable coins when I come around to them. And it is the best way to support the channel because they take the least cut away from me, whereas YouTube will take 40%. So there you go. GG. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Said I'm in College Station and had to switch from Raven to ETH because of the heat in Texas. If you want to even get less heat, you could go to Ergo as well, by the way. So on some of my really hot rigs, I go to Ergo just because it is extremely quiet there. I'm going to take a quick restroom break before we get into more questions and answers because let's just say this coffee went ahead and hit me hard. So give me 1 second. We'll be right back. Get your questions ready, though. Somebody cue the Jeopardy music. Dun, 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 dun. 1 sec. All right, I feel better. I feel better. Let's get into questions and answers. We got a super chat sticker from Ted Park for $1.99. Thank you, good sir. And let's go ahead and get into more of this. David Packer says, Ask Son of a Tech, what do you think of the reseller NiceHash? You mean reselling the hash rate? The biggest problem is it poses the most risk to smaller networks being compromised due to the fact that people can rent and maliciously attack different networks. Other than that, if you want a quick Bitcoin payout, that is one thing you can do. Tomac says, Ask Son of a Tech, how long are you shutting down your rigs? From 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Time. Chillrish says, Ask Son of a Tech, 19 Flux Cumulus nodes currently generate 392 flux per month at about 215 watts when using those tiny form desktops that use internal laptop components. Mining requires 570 solutions a second for the same. Yeah, but you are dedicated to a single currency, and that can be a problem. So you want to be extremely careful because you have only flux to rely on. Chadwick says, Ask Son of a Tech, did you try flashing the 50 XT cards? Yes, we did. I believe on yours, we flashed it live on the channel and then flashed it back. We did not get it running, or not yours. I didn't flash yours. I flashed Metal Miners. That's right. So we did the 60, what is it? The 60, I don't know, 6650 XT we tried to flash. Keep getting mixed up. It's been a while now. We talk about it in the review. Daniel says, Ask Son of a Tech, how do I approach an elderly neighbor to get his multiple Bitcoin off Coinbase to a wallet? I've known him for a year, but he knows I'm a miner. You can just talk to him about it, bring up the article, show him how, Coinbase shut down, extraction, let him know that you can't get it out if they decide to fully shut down, and tell him that he should learn about, doing that. Anything and Everything says, Ask Son of a Tech, are you going to live stream the shutdown and consolidation tonight? I'm probably going to do a video on it. Probably not live stream it though. We have another $1.99 super chat from Tony Megna. Thank you, good sir. And is that Megna Gaming on Twitch? Anything and Everything. Thanks for the $4.99 super chat. Says PSA Brandon Coin was hacked because he did not disable VNC or change his password in Hive OS. Maybe we show the community how to fix VNC in settings. Probably a good idea. Anything and Everything. I assume that Brandon Coin is now working on that. Dan San says, Ask Simon Tech FYI, after watching Brandon Coin get hacked, I followed your Is Your Hive Hacked video and found that I noticed my VNC password was set to 1 just in case I changed the password. Yeah, guys, like we've been covering that for many, many years. That has been a problem in Hive, and that is end user issue. That is on you. With great power comes great responsibility. Make sure that you are securing your assets, and that includes your physical assets when you're mining. Luckily, it's just mining, right? It's better than getting, I suppose, like your wallet hacked and that getting drained. So, all you got to do is go resolve that and then move on from there. We have a $1.99 super chat from I Prefer Pi. Thank you, good sir, for boosting that algorithm with that super sticker. Gun Muse on the $5 super sticker. Thanks for boosting that algorithm. And I Prefer Pi did another 99-cent super chat. So Lahib Kanash says, Ask Simon Tech, first time catching you live in weeks. Electric prices jumped in Western New York this month from 11 cents to 14 cents a kilowatt hour. That's a bummer, man. But 14 cents is still, I think, cutting profitability, luckily. Elliot says, Ask Simon Tech, have you considered unsetting your flight sheets and letting the systems idle during the power conservation call? So yes, I did consider that, but I think I want to shut it all the way down, primarily due to the threat of blackouts or rolling blackouts, meaning I don't want the power to just go and shut off and damage my rigs or my components. I also don't want it to go and power back on, and consequently damage my components in that process. So that is the thinking behind shutting them down completely. Okay. Personally, Zebo says, ask Simon Tech, what's a Bitcoin wallet you would recommend? As far as Bitcoin wallets, like I said before, utilizing a paper wallet, a Bitcoin wallet generator that you can get off of GitHub and various other outlets, and then doing it on an offline computer is going to be the safest way. If you need connectivity to it to move cryptocurrency funds around, you can use a hardware wallet. There are plenty out there. We have some more reviews coming, but Trezor is one of my favorite. You have Ledger, some of the new ones back here. We have these SecUX. We have like the Stone V20, stuff like that. We're going to do some reviews on for you guys. And then I believe SecUX also has, let me see this. Yeah. They also have these Xseed Pluses. So they have like a combination here where you can get, here's a W20. By the way, they don't give me affiliate links and they don't pay me, but they sent these stuff. And then AAA Wave sent this. So they have a whole lineup. There's a W20. There's a V20. But what I really like is the Xseed Plus. What this is basically going to allow you to, their stainless steel aluminum plates. We'll talk about these for your paper wallets. This is what I would use, the Xseed Plus. And I can get you an Amazon affiliate link for that. That's really what I would highly recommend. Now, what they usually have you do in this setup is they'll give you these, and then you'll kind of move them over. You'll type the seed onto here. So, but those are all different options. Win Peoples, member for 12 months. Thank you for that. And you're welcome for the content. I intend to continue. Daniel Castillo with the $5 super chat says, we've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. Oh, man. Good thing I just have an old truck that's all beat up and I don't care. I hit a buddy at jiu-jitsu. He had an old beater cart. I was driving my truck. He parked like right next to me, and so when I was pulling out, I scraped the side of my bed on his bumper. And so I went in, I was like, hey bro, and then I'm sorry. And he's like, it's okay. I don't care about that car. And I was like, cool, I don't care about my truck. And then we just parted ways. It makes life a lot easier when you just have shit that isn't nice, that you don't have to it's just a scratch. Not worried about it. You know what I mean? No stressing. No stressing. Dan Sand says, at Simon Tech, as a non-financial advice, are you holding some bags of Ergo, Flux, and Ethereum Classic or anything other in case of these mining solutions after the merge? Or mining solutions after the merge? I don't think we'll see a pump after the merge. I'm kind of curious on that. I think we see a liquidation, a bunch of mining equipment, not financial advice, but I don't think that I think shit gets worse, right? I think from a GPU mining perspective, shit gets worse, and there'll be a few weeks of non-profitability as a lot of people try to move off of Ethereum, and then a huge capitulation and sell off of mining rigs. And then what you'll see is the base level of miners, like GPU miners, basically stay on and continue to provide security to the other cryptocurrencies. And then we'll see who the winner is in the next bull run in 2025. That's my feeling on probably what's going to happen. I think you'll see a little discovery, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Children says, ask Tech, I know it doesn't scale up, but on my sub 1 kilowatt rigs, I run old APC UPSs that perform graceful shutdowns and delayed power when power is restored. Yeah, it's a little hard once you're over well, I have a couple rigs that are over 2 kilowatts too. But UPSs are a little expensive too. Queen of Random says, "Ask Simon Tech, I saw on Netapool that the top miner is at 125 gigahash. Do you think that is all GPUs or ASICs on for Erg now?" I think that's probably all GPUs. That's like a 50 gigahash a second Ethereum farm. Not unheard of. Dan Sand says, "As Simon Tech, can you add in your to-do list to make decentralized out of the network Bitcoin wallet?" Add into, add for a guide. Yep, I'll do it. I think the other guide was ENS this week. So we have ENS guide and setting up Bitcoin paper wallet. So I'll add those two for the week. Oh, Chili Mike says, "Ask Simon Tech, counting down till I can get to come see you with those units." Oh, it'll be awesome. I don't know when they're going to come in though. I have two. 0101 with the $4.99 super chat says, "Thank you much for the answer. I appreciate it." Hell yeah, and thanks for the $4.99 super chat. Let's see if I missed anything up here. Patrick says, "Ask Simon Tech, if I got free power and combined with 43080 or 3090s, 13080 and 26800s, which coin should you mine?" It's really up to you. I'd probably do Flux or Ergo, depending on the card, right? Ergo is going to be easy on the 3090s because it's not as hot. The 3080 probably be really nice on Flux. 6800 is pretty good on Flux, but not as good. Probably still want to take the 6800s and put them on. Trying to remember, 6800s, not the XT version, so not as good at Flux and Ravencoin. Gunmuse had said, "Ask Simon Tech, my new 5700 acquisition Hive is not letting flash their BIOS. Can you try to duplicate the issue?" I don't know. That's weird. Have you tried flashing it on Windows or on DOS? Blue Dragon Mining says, "Ask Simon Tech, what is the oldest GPU model you would pick up for the cheap right now?" Probably 20 series NVIDIA, like 2080 Ti's, something like that. Dan Sand says, "Ask Simon Tech, FYI after..." Oh yeah, and then we talked about the Brandon coin hack. So we're aware and caught up on that. And then XDX says, "Ask Simon Tech, which coins would you invest in for the 2025 run?" I wouldn't buy any coins directly. I would just mine them. And then Ergo and Flux are probably Ergo, Flux, Caspa. Ergo, Flux, and Caspa is probably what I'm looking at. And Bitcoin, of course. Bitcoin's the safest, so a majority in Bitcoin. All right, so it's slowing down on questions and answers. I think we'll probably call it for today. Let me get out to the farm a little bit here later and get packed up to do a video on shutting it down. Probably going to mark on like what rigs are running good with no issues and only turn those back on at 8 p.m. and then start reconfiguring each rig that's not running good one by one. I am also considering selling some 3090s, so if you guys are interested, let me know. And the primary reason for that is I think I only want to sell like one or two, but I want to buy some water blocks for a different project. So I think I need to sell a couple 3090s so I can do some water blocks on a couple other 3090s. Xcraft, thanks for the $5 super chat. Sticker, thanks for boosting the algorithm. LZ says, ask Samatech, what do you think about the new Titan nodes going online soon? I just like, as far as like Flux nodes, like, cool. Either way, right? Like, I'm not big into doing a lot of noding because I've gotten screwed on nodes a lot of times in the past. IATG says, ask Samatech, have you noticed Neta payouts all over the place, high one day and low the next? Yep. It all depends on like what the price of Neta is converted to the price of Erg and how many Ergo blocks Get Block is finding, which is a big problem too. There you go. Thanks everybody for watching. Hit the like, comment, subscribe, and notification bell down below so you're notified when we go live. Apparently notifications are not working for everyone, and people that have notifications on are reporting that. So if you want to find when I'm going live, the easiest way probably where you will always get a notification is on sonofatech.locals.com. You can become a member for free over there. Supporters have access to some additional exclusive giveaways and other content. So there is that if you want to sign up. It is a great way to support the channel. But just in general, of course, for notifications over there or on Twitter at SonOfATech, I post when I go live on Twitter as well as Facebook, Discord, and Rocket Chat. So that's where you can find me when I'm going live. Unfortunately, you know, the crypto market and the way it responds with the YouTube algorithm is probably going to be messing with it here for a while. It could get worse. So make sure you're also just a member on Locals for that reason too, right? So in case there's other content or content gets moved or shifted or whatever it may be. So there you go. I will see you next Tuesday.